I'm District Attorney Michael O'Keefe, District Attorney of the Cape and Islands, and with me is Chief Paul McDonald of the Barnstable Police Department. I want to begin by commending the work of the Barnstable Police Department, particularly Detectives Sean Balcom and Brian Guiney, who worked together with the Massachusetts State Police detectives assigned to the District Attorney's Office around the clock to resolve this matter. Last night at about 6 o'clock, two juveniles, age 13, were arrested here at the Barnstable Police Station and charged with murder and armed robbery.
How old? 13.
And later last evening, an adult, age 20, a Robert Vasher of Hyannis, was arrested and charged with murder and armed robbery. The motive for this crime appears to be money. Approximately $10,000 was taken from Jordan Mendes when he was killed and used the following morning by these youths to buy a silver BMW, which they paid $10,000 in cash for. An autopsy was conducted yesterday by the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner in Boston. The deceased had been shot once and stabbed multiple times before being thrown in the hole. A day later, he was set on fire in that hole on the wooded lot on Jennifer Lane. The cause of death is a gunshot wound of the torso with perforation of the liver and colon and sharp force injury to the head and neck, including the trachea and major blood vessels. The investigation is continuing by Barnstable Police and Massachusetts State Police detectives attached to the District Attorney's Office. Before I answer some questions, I'd like to introduce Chief McDonald to say a few words.
Good morning. Just want to reiterate what the District Attorney just said about the level of cooperation between the Barnstable Police Department and the Massachusetts State Police. It was an incredible investigation, a very active investigation. Specifically, we got a number of suspects and witnesses. They literally worked around the clock since the initial event happened. But I also want to reassure the residents of the town of Barnstable, this was not a random act. This was not gang related. We feel that we have everybody involved. This incident is under arrest. And we don't expect any further violence to come from this particular incident.
One of the 13-year-olds, brother of Jordan Mendes?
I'm not in a position to be able to speak about the juveniles or anything that would identify them, but I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out.
You said the body was, it sounds like the body was killed and they waited a day before the actual...
The evidence would seem to suggest that at about 2:30 on Monday, the killing took place. As it grew dark later, the body was dumped in the hole, and the kids returned on Tuesday night to burn the body.
All three of them returned Tuesday?
Well, I'm not going to indicate that at the moment, but we have the location. We have executed warrants there and recovered a great deal of forensic evidence.
Can you tell us if the victim knew all three of them?
Yes. The evidence would seem to suggest that he is a significant drug dealer and that money was going to be used to purchase drugs. Well, they were in the company of another person who was of age, as well as an aunt.
Was this Mr. Badger with them when they bought the car?
Yes.
Have you found the gun? Is the gun in possession of the police that was used to shoot?
We have recovered one of the weapons used, but not the other, and I'm not going to specify which at this time. The medical examiner has indicated that either wound, those caused by the knife or that caused by the gunshot wound, would have been a fatal wound, and certainly in combination they were fatal wounds. Individuals will be presented to the court. They're over at the courthouse now. The juvenile proceedings obviously will be closed to the public. They're in the process of trying to secure attorneys to represent them at this point, and whether they'll be reached today or held over until another day, because I know there are concerns all around about weather and things of that nature. So they're over in court. It's hard to predict exactly when they'll be
All
arraigned.
three are over in
Yes.
court?
They can't be tried as adults. They're 13 years old.
With a crime like this, what typically would happen with a 13-year-old?
Well, they're brought before the court as juvenile delinquents, and the court has the ultimate opportunity to commit them to the Department of Youth Services until they're 18.
Like, what happens when they turn 18?
When they turn 18, that's provided, we're just speaking generally now, when someone who is a delinquent child and committed to DYS by reason of that delinquency reaches the age of 18, if their commitment is until they reach the age of 18, DYS has the legal authority to petition a court to hold them until their 21st birthday, but they must make that petition on a yearly basis. You know, the investigation, there'll be a lot of loose ends to tie up. As the chief said, it does not appear that there will be any additional arrests of people who would have been immediately involved in the homicide, but that doesn't rule out that some other people will be looked at for their activities subsequent to the homicide. Well, you know, as I said at the beginning, when just dealing with the discovery of this young person's body, this is a very disturbing event. It's certainly even more disturbing when one considers the age of the participants, at least as the evidence would suggest the participants to be. And it's certainly going to, I think, cause some people to look at the youthful offender statute and wonder whether or not the age should be lowered. People today are committing more and more violent acts at a younger and younger age. And I remember very well the debate when the youthful offender statute was created, and the reason it was created was because it was recognized back at that point in time that more and more kids were committing more and more violent acts at a younger age, so it was lowered and moved to 14. It may be now time to consider looking at whether that should be lowered further.
I won't say there's been an increase in violence crime, but I will say that Detective Division in the last 9 months has taken 64 weapons off the street, you know, because of their very proactive, aggressive work, and in particular part of the narcotics unit.
Chief, a follow-up question. How does that compare with about 5 years ago?
We've changed our philosophy, we've changed our direction on, particularly in the investigative unit. You know, they're far more proactive, they're very aggressive, you know, targeting individuals. We've had problems at Fresh Hills Road, General Patton Drive, and they're out there and they're extremely aggressive. And, you know, I believe to date this year they've done over 50 search warrants, which is incredible for a department this size.